There is a repertory of familiar themes running through the whole Quran. Each surah elaborates or adumbrates one or more, often many of these. Using the language of music, each surah is a rhapsody composed of whole or fragmentary light motifs. The analogy is reinforced by the subtly varied rhythmical flow of the discourse. If this diagnosis of the literary structure of Al-Quran may be accepted as true, and it accords with what we know of the poetical instinct, instead, the whole aesthetic impulse of the Arabs, it follows that those notorious incongruities and irrelevancies, even those worrisome repetitions, which may have proved such stumbling blocks in the way of our Western appreciation, will vanish in the light of a clearer understanding of the nature of the Muslim scriptures. A new vista opens up following this hitherto unsuspected and unexplored path. The eager interpreter hurries forward upon an existing journey of discovery and is impatient to report his findings to a largely indifferent and incredulous public. Now, I saw how in recent years, if you include, of course, the different translators, that Rumi was the most popular poet in the English language. I mean, he wrote it, Jalaluddin wrote his stuff in Farsi, but during the long months, the dark and light months of laboring at this interpretation, eclectic where the ancient commentators differ in their understanding of a word or phrase, unannotated, because notes in plenty are to be found in other versions, and the radiant beauty of the original is not clouded by such vexing interpolations, all through this welcome task. Now, a lot of these interjections are basically how they, not per se historical or linguistic or whatnot, side notes that would help. But those that would basically point out, hey, we're Christian and this is different. Oh, in white Christian culture, this is different. Yeah, a lot of the notes kind of focus on that. From other non-Muslim commentators. All through this welcome task, I've been reliving those Ramadan nights of long ago when I would sit on the veranda of my Gazira house and listen entranced to the old white-bearded sheikh who chanted Al-Quran for the pious delectation of my neighbor. He had, it is fortune, my neighbor, to be a prominent politician, and so in the fullness of his destiny, but not the fullest of his years, he fell to an assassin's bullet. I like to think that the merit of those holy recitations may have eased the way for him into a world free of the tumult and turbulence that attended his earthly career. It was then that I, the infidel, learned to understand and react to the thrilling rhythms of Al-Quran, only to be apprehended when listened to at such a time and in such a place. In humble thankfulness, I dedicate this all too imperfect essay in imitation to the memory of those magical Egyptian nights. And magical, of course, not as in some sort of slur or something that some people are going to use it, but magical in terms of, a translation itself, if you're the one doing a translation, gotta have it stand by itself. Magical in the change of consciousness, magical in the art of science of spirituality, which is in fulfillment in religion. And I don't mean religion as you have to sign your name on a membership roll or something like this. I mean religion as in a relationship with God, with the created. Something that regulates and connects both oneself and to community. It doesn't mean that you have to just slavishly do what community tells you to do or something like this without questioning or any ridiculous thing like that. But it's important to know the knowing some of the inspiration and sacred history around a scripture. That's important enough. But primarily, it's just what can the language be expressing? What is it reacting to? How is outside external reaction to it possible? I mean, and taking it seriously. Obviously, people will say, "Oh, this is abrogated. I don't want to follow it." So here's a part I don't want to follow, and here's a part I don't want to follow. So I'll just say those are abrogated, and I mean they're not contradictory, but I'm going to say that they're that sort of thing. What are the rights of the revelation and inspiration that came through Muhammad and any other prophet, really, to believe in it, to practice it, to learn it, to understand it, to spread it, and to experience it. And that experience element, even though the narrations kind of teach, how to do the prayer and stuff better. I mean, to actually feel the prayer and stuff better. It's understandable how Sufism seems to be the first way where it's coming in, because people are seeing something dry and conservative, and you can't interpret it through whatever. Although Sufism has actually more tendency to that than Sunni Islam, but that's you can have your own way of expressing, and still follow the fundamentals.